Raylan Ward had explored many broken machines in his life, but he had never seen anything like the small silver escape pod lying crushed between the trees. The forest moon was usually peaceful, filled with soft winds and glowing insects that drifted like floating sparks. But today, the air smelled of burned metal, smoke, and hot engines. The crash trail showed deep marks in the soil, as if the pod had hit the ground spinning and skidding for meters before stopping. Raylan stepped closer, holding his scanner in one hand and a small light in the other. He was a human engineer, used to repairing old machines and helping small settlements. He had not expected to find a fallen alien pod here, far from any normal travel route. Something felt wrong already, and the silence around him made his heart beat a little faster. He leaned into the broken hatch and called out. There was no answer. He pushed away a piece of bent metal and climbed inside. The pod was dark except for a few flickering blue lights. Wires hung down like tangled vines, and smoke rose from a burnt panel. Then he heard a weak, soft sound from the back, almost like someone trying to breathe but struggling. He lifted his light. There, half buried under straps and fallen equipment, was a young alien woman. Her skin was pale with a faint golden glow under it, almost like light was moving inside her. Strange markings ran along her arms, thin and bright like lines of starlight. Her hair was long and silver blue, tangled with dust and broken wires. She looked peaceful even in her pain, as if she belonged to a calm world far away from danger. Raylan dropped to his knees. Hey, can you hear me? He asked softly. The alien girl whispered something in a language he did not know. It was weak, barely a breath. She tried to lift her hand, but had no strength. The glowing lines on her skin dimmed and brightened slowly. Raylan knew she would not survive long inside the damaged pod. Carefully freed her from the straps. She was lighter than any human. When he picked her up, her head rested against his chest, and a soft warmth spread through his arms. It felt almost like she was carrying a small sun inside her body. He carried her out and walked through the forest toward his cabin. The path was narrow, covered with leaves and soft soil. Every few steps, she breathed out a small sound, and the light in her markings flickered. Raylan kept comforting her, telling her to hold on, even though she probably could not understand. His cabin was not big, but it was safe and clean. He pushed the door open with his shoulder and laid her gently on his bed. The room was warm from the small heater in the corner. He quickly grabbed a blanket and covered her, hoping to keep her stable. Her breathing slowly steadied, but her face was still dirty and scratched from the crash. Raylan filled a small bowl with warm water and took a soft cloth. He sat beside her and gently cleaned the dust from her forehead and cheeks. Her glowing lines pulsed faintly every time his cloth touched her skin, as if her body responded to warmth or kindness. He had never seen something so strange and beautiful. He cleaned her hands too, brushing off the dried black oil from the pod. Her fingers were long and thin, almost delicate. She looked young, not a child, but someone who had just stepped into adulthood. The more he cleaned her, the more he noticed how calm her face became. Maybe she felt safer here. Maybe she could sense his gentle touch. He spoke to her, even though she might not understand. You're going to be all right. I'll help you. Just rest. He finished cleaning her face, then lifted the blanket slightly to adjust it. He wanted to make sure she was warm and comfortable. But as he pulled the blanket up, something unexpected happened. Something under the blanket moved. Not a small twitch from her body, this was different. Shifted against her side, like something alive resting beside her. Raylan froze. His hand stopped midair. His breath caught in his chest, slowly lowered the blanket again, unsure of what he had felt. Her body had been still, but the thing under the blanket had reacted to his touch. It was soft, warm, and it moved like a creature waking from sleep. Raylan slowly pulled his hand back. He did not want to frighten her or make things worse. He sat quietly for a few seconds, watching her. The glow on her skin became brighter for a moment, then faded gently. He whispered to himself, "What was that?" He thought about checking again, but he did not want to disturb her. She was hurt and weak, and whatever that thing was, it seemed connected to her. Maybe it was part of her species, something he did not understand. He took a deep breath and decided to focus on stabilizing her condition first. He brought his scanner and checked her vitals. Her breathing was still shallow, but steady. Her heartbeat was slow but stable. The scanner showed strange readings, light energy patterns that human devices were not designed to measure. It was clear she was not just any alien. Her biology was unique. Raylan sat on the chair beside the bed, kept watching her, worried she might wake up in pain or fear. Hours passed. The forest outside grew dark, and night animals cried softly in the distance. The stars shone through the window. Inside the cabin, only the small heater glowed with soft light. Raylan kept thinking about the shifting under the blanket. He tried to understand it. Maybe it was a medical device that her species used to protect them. Maybe it was some kind of natural organ that responded to danger. Or maybe it was a living part of her, something that humans had never discovered. He thought about lifting the blanket again, but he stopped himself. It felt wrong to do it while she was unconscious and helpless. He wanted to wait until she woke up and could explain. Late in the night, she finally moved. Her eyes opened slowly, glowing faintly like warm gold. She looked weak, but aware. Her gaze rested on Raylan. Her lips moved as she tried to speak. He leaned closer. "You're safe. I found you in the crash. You're in my cabin." She blinked a few times. "You help." Her voice was soft and gentle. Raylan smiled. "Yes, I helped. You're going to be okay." Her eyes slowly shifted toward her own body, as if she sensed the thing under the blanket too. For a moment, a worried look passed across her face. Then she relaxed again and whispered something in her language. The glowing lines on her skin pulsed softly in response. Raylan watched carefully. The blanket shifted again just a little. It was clear now that something was definitely there, connected to her, but she did not look scared. Instead, she looked relieved. She whispered a single word in human language, struggling to pronounce it. "Protect me." Raylan did not understand everything, but he understood enough. Whatever was under that blanket was not dangerous to him. It was something meant to protect her, something she trusted. He nodded gently. "I won't hurt you. You can rest." She closed her eyes again, comforted by his voice. The soft thing under the blanket settled down too, like it understood his promise. Raylan leaned back in his chair. He felt a strange mix of fear, curiosity, and warmth. He had rescued an alien girl whose species held secrets humanity had never discovered. He had seen something impossible shift beneath the blanket. And yet, he felt calm beside her, as if he had been meant to find her in that broken pod outside. A faint mechanical hum echoed through the trees. Raylan did not hear it. But far away, a tracking drone scanned the forest. Heading toward the crash site, danger was coming to danger neither of them was ready for. Raylan woke up early the next morning, still sitting in the chair beside the bed. His neck was stiff, and his eyes were dry. But he didn't care about his discomfort. His first thought was the alien girl lying under the blanket. He leaned forward quietly, checking if she was awake, but she was still resting peacefully. The faint golden lines on her skin glowed gently, brighter than the night before. She looked stronger, not as fragile as when he found her in the crashed pod. As he watched her, he remembered the strange shifting under the blanket. The memory sent a small chill down his spine. He had seen many alien species during his work as an engineer, but he had never seen a living organ or creature attached to someone's body. Whatever it was, it had reacted gently to his presence, almost like it sensed he meant no harm. He stood up carefully and went outside to gather fresh water. The forest morning was cool, filled with soft mist drifting through the tall trees. Birds with glowing wings fluttered overhead. Raylan tried to calm his thoughts as he filled the metal container at the stream, but something made him uneasy. He felt he was no longer alone on this moon. Something had been watching the area since last night. When he returned to the cabin, he saw that the alien girl was awake. She sat up weakly, holding the blanket close. Her eyes lifted toward him, glowing faintly with warmth and caution. She looked calmer today, as if she trusted him a little more. Raylan placed the water beside her and spoke gently. "Good morning. Do you feel better?" She blinked and tried to find the right words in human language. "Better. Yes. You help. Thank you. Her voice was soft, musical, almost like a melody. Raylan gave her a small smile. I'm glad you're recovering. You scared me when I first saw you in that pod. She lowered her gaze, as if remembering the crash. Her fingers tightened around the blanket. It hurt. Ship. Broken. I. Fall. She struggled to form sentences, but her tone carried the meaning clearly. She looked down again at the blanket, a worried expression crossing her face. Raylan noticed. He sat down at the edge of the bed, but kept a respectful distance. It's all right, he whispered. I won't touch anything without your permission. You're safe here. She took a slow breath and nodded. Her glowing lines softened. She lifted one hand and touched the blanket gently, as if calming the thing beneath. Then she looked at him more directly. You see? My shield. Raylan frowned. Your shield? She nodded slowly. Aurelian. Shield. Part of me. Not weapon. Not danger. Only protect. She spoke the words with focus, trying to make them sound clear. Raylan felt a wave of relief. So it's something your species has naturally? A protective organ? She tilted her head slightly. Yes. Organ of light. We do not show humans. Secret. Long time. Raylan respected her honesty. He nodded gently. You don't have to show me anything you don't want to. I'm not here to study you. I just want to help. Her eyes softened. She seemed surprised by his answer, as if she expected fear or suspicion. Instead, she saw kindness. She whispered quietly, humans. Brave. Raylan chuckled a little under his breath. Not always. But we try. She relaxed, but her eyes still showed concern. Something troubled her. She looked toward the window, where sunlight filtered through the trees. Danger still come. Raylan's smile faded. What do you mean? Who's coming? She pressed her lips together, then spoke slowly, carefully. Zenth Dominion. Bad people. They chase me. They want. Aurelians. Her voice trembled slightly. Raylan felt a cold feeling spread through his chest. He had heard the name before, rumors of an oppressive alien empire that seized resources and valuable species. They caused your crash? She nodded. My ship run. They shoot. I fall. She lowered her head, sadness flickering in her eyes. I, alone now. Raylan wanted to comfort her. She looked so small and exhausted, far from her home, hunted by dangerous enemies. He reached out gently and placed his hand near hers, not touching, but close enough to show support. You're not alone anymore. I'll help you. Her eyes widened slightly, as if she did not expect such a promise. The glowing lines on her skin brightened softly, showing emotion. Thank you, she whispered. Raylan stood up again, trying to gather his thoughts. We need to make a plan. If the Dominion is tracking you, they could arrive soon. Go. She nodded, fear returning to her expression. They follow energy. My shield. It glow. They feel it, he understood. Then we need to hide your energy signature. He walked to his storage shelf and took out a small device, one he used to hide heat signals during storms. I can modify this into a shielding generator. It might cover your energy lines. Ow. She looked hopeful. Help. Yes. While Raylan worked on the device, she watched him silently. She studied his hands, strong, human, familiar to her in a strangely comforting way. Humans were not known for special powers or advanced alien abilities. But they had something else. Patience, problem-solving, and a strange kindness even towards strangers. She spoke softly. Why? You helped me. He paused, thinking. Because you needed help, that's all. It doesn't matter where you came from. Her eyes softened again. She held the blanket close as she looked at him. Humans. Different from stories. Raylan raised an eyebrow. What kind of stories? She hesitated. Some say humans. Dangerous? Quick to fight. Quick to fear. Raylan sighed. Some humans are like that. Yes. But not all. She nodded slowly. You different? Raylan returned to his work, but her words stayed in his mind. He knew humans had a reputation across the galaxy: tough, emotional, unpredictable. But he also knew that humans could be fiercely protective once they cared about someone. And right now, he cared about keeping this girl safe. The shielding device finally powered up with a soft hum. A glowing field spread around the girl, dimming the brightness of her markings gently. She looked down at her arms and smiled faintly, relieved. But the moment of peace did not last long. Raylan's cabin sensors beeped sharply. A warning light flashed red on the wall. Raylan quickly checked the monitor. A scanning drone was moving through the forest fast, systematic and not human-made. His jaw tightened. They're here. Her breath caught in her throat. Zenth. Maybe just a scout, Raylan said quietly, trying to stay calm. But they're searching for your crash. They're getting close. She looked terrified, clutching the blanket around herself. The protective organ under it shifted again, reacting to her fear. Raylan felt his heart tighten at the sight. He gently approached her. We're not going to let them take you. Not while I'm here. She stared at him, her eyes shining with trust and fear mixed together. They. Strong. Many weapons. Raylan shook his head. Doesn't matter. Humans don't run from danger when someone needs help. She took a deep breath and nodded. What? We do. Raylan looked around the cabin. He had tools, small machines, and a knowledge of engineering that could be useful. He didn't have weapons, but he had his wits. First, we stay quiet. The drone will pass, and they won't detect your energy now. Then, we prepare. Because if they found your pod, they'll send more. She lowered her head slightly. I bring danger to you. Raylan stepped closer and placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. Not too close. Just enough. You didn't choose this, and I won't blame you for needing help. Her shoulders relaxed. For the first time since the crash, she felt safe, not because of her shield, but because of him. The drone passed overhead, humming like a cold machine. The shielding device worked. The cabin stayed hidden. For now, but Raylan and the alien girl both knew this was only the beginning. The Dominion was out there, scanning the forest, getting closer with every hour. The quiet moon would soon become a place of danger. Raylan looked at her gently. We'll get through this. Together. She looked at him with a mix of fear and trust. The glowing lines on her skin pulsed softly. Like her heart understood his words. For the first time, she did not feel alone. Raylan spent the next hour checking every corner of the cabin, making sure nothing inside could be easily detected. He powered down all unnecessary devices, dimmed the lights, and closed the windows. The forest outside was too quiet now. Even the glowing birds had stopped singing, so if they sensed something moving through the trees that did not belong there. The alien girl Array, as she had softly told him her name, watched him closely. She stayed wrapped in the blanket, sitting on the bed with her protective organ resting quietly beside her. It no longer moved sharply like before, but it still hovered near her side, glowing faintly, responding to her emotions. She kept her eyes on Raylan, trusting him but still frightened by what hunted her. Raylan didn't want to worry her, but he knew the truth. The Zenth Dominion never sent just one drone. More would arrive soon. The cabin might be safe for now, but only if they stayed quiet and hidden. He walked back to her slowly, trying not to show the pressure weighing on him. Lee-Ray, he said softly, I need to know everything you can tell me about why they're chasing you. Anything might help us survive. She looked down at the blanket, her fingers tightening on it. She took a slow breath before answering. Aurelians, my people. We have light shield. She touched the spot where the organ hid. Only few are born with strong one. Dominion want this? Want control? Use us. As power. Raylan felt anger rise in his chest. Use you. As what? Some kind of living battery? She nodded sadly. Yes, we make energy. They want it. They catch many. I run. But they shoot my ship. Raylan swallowed hard. So they want you alive? To drain you alive? But not safe, she whispered. Alive for them is prison. He understood now. She wasn't just some lost traveler. She was valuable to the Dominion, which made her even more in danger. He looked at her and felt a surge of determination. She deserves safety, not a life of control and suffering. "We'll protect you," he said. "Humans don't let cruel empires take innocent people." She lifted her eyes slowly, and Raylan saw a spark of hope there. A small smile formed, fragile but real. He walked to the window to check outside again. The forest looked still, but something about the silence bothered him. A low humming vibration moved through the trees, almost too faint for human ears. Lorraine suddenly stiffened. Her shield organ rose slightly, glowing brighter. "They come," she whispered. Raylan tensed. "How many?" She closed her eyes, listening the way her species could sense energy. Not big ship. Small group. 4. Maybe 5. Raylan quickly grabbed the tools he had worked with all his life. His world didn't have weapons, but he had devices that could blind sensors, tools that could overload electronics, and traps that could distract or delay enemies. Engineers were not soldiers, but they didn't need to be helpless. He crouched near Lee Ray. "They're coming here. I'll do everything I can to slow them down, but you need to stay inside." "Don't move unless I tell you." Lorraine shook her head. "No, I help." He frowned. "You're hurt. You're still weak. You need to recover." Looked at him firmly, more strength in her eyes than before. Aurelians protect, not hide. Her shield pulsed with bright energy, proving she was ready to defend herself if needed. Raylan didn't argue anymore. He understood she wasn't helpless. She had her own strength, just different from humans. The sound of metal feet crushing leaves echoed faintly in the distance. Raylan peeked through the window. Tall figures in dark armor were moving through the trees. They had scanners in their hands and glowing visors, sweeping the area carefully. Their movements were sharp and disciplined. "These were Zenth hunters," Raylan whispered. "They're here." Lorraine closed her eyes again. Her shield organ floated beside her like a glowing ribbon of light, breathing in and out in slow pulses. She was scared, but she did not panic. The hunters stopped near the crashed pod site first. They scanned the area, then spread out. One of them pointed toward Raylan's cabin. Another checked a small console and nodded. They had found a feint. Energy trail maybe from Lorraine's shield before he masked it. Raylan grabbed a small flash device he built for emergency welding. It wasn't a weapon, but it emitted a blinding burst of light strong enough to confuse sensors. He whispered to Lee Ray, "When they enter, stay behind the bed. Don't show yourself yet." She nodded. The footsteps approached the cabin door. The wooden boards creaked softly as heavy boots stepped onto the porch. Raylan hid behind the cabinet. Breathing slowly, the door panel beeped as one of the hunters tried to override the lock, Raylan whispered. Now, he triggered the flash. A violent burst of white light filled the cabin. Sparks danced across the air, disorienting the hunters and messing with their helmets. 2 of them stumbled backward. Their visors flickered wildly. Raylan jumped out and used a metal pole to strike one of them in the arm. The impact made the hunter drop his weapon. It wasn't a fatal blow, just enough to disable. But another hunter recovered faster and grabbed Raylan by the shoulder, slamming him into the wall. The hit knocked the air out of him. He tried to push the armored hand away, but the hunter was strong, much stronger than a human. Lee Ray gasped, fear flashing in her eyes. Her shield organ reacted instantly. A wave of golden energy burst across the room, gentle like light but forceful like wind. It struck the hunter holding Raylan and sent him sliding backward across the floor. The energy didn't burn or kill, it simply pushed with a powerful force. The hunters looked shocked. One shouted something in their harsh language. Lorraine stood up, holding onto the wall for support. Her shield floated around her like a living star, bright and fierce. She wasn't using it to attack and lead to protect. One hunter aimed a capturing device at her. But Raylan, gasping for breath, tackled him from the side, disrupting the aim. The device fired, hitting only the ceiling. The hunters regrouped, realizing this wasn't as simple as they expected. One of them tapped a communicator on his arm, sending a message back to their ship. Raylan's heart dropped. They're calling for backup. A bigger team will come soon. Lee Ray stepped beside him, her breathing unsteady but determined. We stop them. Together. He looked at her glowing shield and nodded. Together. One last hunter charged toward Raylan, raising an electric blade. Raylan ducked instinctively. Lyree's shield reacted again, spinning and creating a barrier of light that blocked the blade. The hunter crashed into the energy field and stumbled backward. That was enough. The hunters realized they were outmatched not by violence, but by the unexpected strength of a human and an Aurelian working together. They grabbed their wounded partner and retreated into the trees, rushing back toward their transport. But before they disappeared, one of them shouted a cold warning in a language Raylan did not understand. Lyree did. Her face paled. They called bigger ship. Stronger soldiers. Raylan clenched his fists. Then we need to call for help too. He ran to his workbench and activated the emergency signal transmitter, a high-power human distress beacon. It released a loud pulse into the sky, sending a message across long distances. If any human ship was nearby, they would hear it. Lyree watched him, hope and fear tangled in her eyes. Humans, come. They will, he said. They always answer distress calls. Outside, the hunters vanished into the forest shadows. But Raylan and Lyree knew the danger wasn't gone. It was only gathering strength. The cabin was quiet again, but not peaceful. The air felt heavy. Raylan sat beside Lyree on the bed. She leaned slightly toward him, still trembling from using her energy. You saved me, he whispered. She shook her head gently. We save each other. Raylan smiled softly. He felt something shift inside him, silent. Understanding between two beings from different worlds, and far above the forest moon, something else shifted too. A distant rumble echoed across the sky. Something big was coming. The sky above the quiet forest moon darkened slowly, not with clouds, but with the shadow of something large breaking through the upper atmosphere. Raylan stepped out of the cabin and stared upward, his heart pounding. A deep rumble rolled across the sky like distant thunder. He knew that sound. It was too heavy, too cold. It's controlled to be nature. A Zenth Dominion landing craft was entering the airspace. Lyree came to the doorway. Leaning against the frame for support, her glowing lines pulsed with fear, and her protective shield organ hovered close to her side like a frightened animal sensing danger. The color of the glow shifted from gentle gold to a deeper warning light. They come, she whispered, her voice trembling. Raylan placed a reassuring hand on the doorframe. Yes, but we won't face them alone. I sent the distress signal. Humans will come. She looked at him, fear and trust mixed in her eyes. Dominion fast. Humans far. Maybe, he admitted. But humans respond fast when someone needs help. We just have to hold on until they arrive. Lyree took a slow breath and nodded, trying to be brave. Raylan admired her courage. She had been hunted, injured, and far from home, yet she still stood tall beside him. A sudden explosion echoed through the trees. Birds scattered in glowing swirls as a shockwave rippled through the forest. Raylan pulled Lyree back inside and shut the door quickly. The ground shook. The Dominion landing craft had touched. Down somewhere close to close. Raylan rushed to his workbench, grabbing every device he had. He was not a soldier, but he had tools, knowledge, and determination. Lyree stood near the center of the cabin, clutching the blanket around her shoulders. Her shield organ floated in front of her, glowing brighter, ready to protect. Raylan turned to her. No matter what happens, stay behind me. Let your shield protect you, and I'll handle the rest. She shook her head lightly. No, we protect each other. He didn't argue. They had fought together once already. They would do it again. The cabin sensors beeped loudly, warning them that something was approaching fast. Raylan checked the screen. A cluster of armored life signs marched through the forest. Moving quickly and steadily. It's them, he murmured. Left her eyes, her markings glowing brighter with each breath. She could feel the heavy energy signatures of the Dominion soldiers. She stepped closer to Raylan, instinctively seeking his presence. The door rattled as something hit it from outside. Raylan's breath froze. The Dominion soldiers had arrived. A mechanical voice shouted in a harsh alien tone. It sounded like a command, sharp and demanding. Liray flinched. She recognized the words even though Raylan didn't. They were demanding she surrender. Raylan placed one hand gently on her shoulder. Don't move. The door shook again, harder this time. Dust fell from the ceiling. Another strike. Then another. Raylan knew the door wouldn't hold much longer. He grabbed a small device with a blue light on top and clipped it to the wall. It was a sonic disruptor he usually used for breaking down old metal parts. Now it would serve as a last-moment defense. The door burst open. 4 Dominion soldiers in heavy armor stormed inside. Their helmets glowed with cold blue lines, and their weapons hummed with energy. They were taller than humans, broader, with movements precise like machines. They scanned the room immediately. Their visors locked onto Liray. Raylan stepped in front of her. One soldier raised his weapon at him. Another pointed a capturing device at Liray. Raylan activated the sonic disruptor. A piercing wave pulsed through the cabin. The soldiers staggered, their visors flickering. It didn't knock them down, but it confused their sensors for a moment. Liray's shield organ reacted instantly, expanding into a wide, glowing barrier of golden light. The barrier wrapped around Raylan and Liray like a dome. A blast from a Dominion weapon hit the shield and bounced off. Shaking the room, one soldier shouted angrily. Adjusting his aim, Raylan grabbed a metal rod from the table and struck the soldier nearest to him, hitting the visor. The soldier stumbled back, surprised by the sudden human strength. Another soldier tried to capture Liray with a strange locking beam, but her shield pushed it away with a burst of energy. The battle inside the small cabin was chaotic and loud. Sparks flew from damaged panels. Weapons clashed against the glowing shield. Raylan ducked, dodged, and swung, trying to buy Liray's time to strengthen her defensive barrier. Liray held her hands in front of her chest, glowing brighter and brighter as her shield organ fed her energy. She looked like a living star, scared, but fierce. One of the soldiers suddenly slammed his armored hand down on the sonic disruptor, crushing it. The sound died instantly. Raylan cursed under his breath. Without the disruptor, the soldiers regained full control. One lunged forward, grabbing Raylan by the arm and throwing him against the wall. The impact knocked the breath out of him. Liray cried his name and reached toward him, her energy flickering in distress. Another soldier lifted his capturing device again, pointing directly at her. Liray's shield flared violently, throwing off sparks of golden light, but she was weakening. The exertion and fear drained her energy quickly. Her knees shook. Raylan forced himself to stand, pain running through his side. He grabbed a heavy toolbox and hurled it at the soldier, aiming at Liray. The hit broke the device, sending pieces flying. The soldier turned toward Raylan. Furious, he stepped forward, and something outside shook the entire cabin. The roof vibrated. The trees outside rustled violently. A deep, thunderous sound rolled across the forest. It wasn't the Dominion. It was something else. Raylan looked toward the window and saw bright streaks of white light cutting through the sky. Human ships. 3 of them, fast, powerful, and descending rapidly. The Dominion soldiers paused, hesitating. They exchanged quick signals among themselves. Their mission had just become much more dangerous. Human ships were known for their unpredictable force and fast response. A sonic boom cracked across the air as the first human interceptor flew over the cabin. The ground trembled. The Dominion soldiers froze. Realization hitting them. Humans had answered the distress call. A loud voice echoed from above, amplified through speakers. Step away from the cabin. You are surrounded. The Dominion soldiers backed away quickly, grabbing their wounded and regrouping. They rushed outside and retreated into the trees toward their craft. Raylan stumbled to the doorway and watched as the towering Dominion landing ship lifted off, engines roaring. It rose higher and higher, trying to escape before human forces could corner it. The human interceptors chased it into the sky, firing warning blasts. The Dominion had no choice. They turned sharply and fled into the clouds. Disappearing beyond the horizon, silence fell again, thick and heavy. But this time it wasn't fear, it was relief. Human soldiers landed near the cabin. They moved quickly, but calmly, scanning the area and checking for injuries. Raylan stepped outside, breathing hard, bruised but standing. One of the human officers approached. "You're the one who sent the distress signal?" Raylan nodded. "The Dominion attacked us. She needs protection. They were trying to take her." The officer looked past him at Lee Ray, who stood weakly in the doorway with her shield gently dimming as her fear faded. Her eyes glowed softly, filled with exhaustion and hope. "She's safe now," the officer said. "We'll take both of you to the central ship. She'll be protected under human authority." Raylan turned to Lee Ray. She looked at him with deep gratitude. Her voice trembled. "You saved me." Raylan shook his head gently. "We saved each other." She stepped forward, close enough for him to see the small trembling in her hands. Her shield curled around her like a gentle ribbon, no longer defensive, just present. "I trust you," she whispered. Raylan felt something shift in his chest. Something warm. Something real. He smiled softly. "I'm not leaving you. Not now. Not ever." The human soldiers guided them toward the shuttle. Lee Ray walked beside Raylan, her shoulder brushing his lightly, her glowing markings steady and calm for the first time since he found her. As they boarded the ship, the forest moon drifted behind them, quiet once again. But something new had begun, an unexpected bond between a human engineer and an Aurelian girl, one that would soon change both their worlds in ways neither could imagine.